Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to our productivity show today. We certainly appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to come visit us and learn about some new technologies. We're very glad you're here. And I would like to introduce our first speaker this morning. Jeff Livesay will be making our presentation. And Jeff is the Vice President of Business Development for our company at McCombs-Wall. He's been with our company for 14 years. Jeff started in the business working as an installer. He installed rack shelving and mezzanine work when he was a young man actually, and so he learned the business literally from the ground up. Jeff has got real-life experience in the automation world, which he'll be sharing with you today, from conceptual design to sales and implementation. And he's got a lot of experience with that type of technology at our company. Some of the projects that Jeff has worked on have included Puma shoes and apparel in Torrance, LD products in Long Beach, a Target deconsolidation project in Virginia. And so he's got a lot of experience that he's going to be sharing with you today. Jeff is married and has 2 children and lives in Long Beach. So would you please greet Jeff warmly for me, please? Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I know it's to take out time out of your busy day is a valuable time. It's very valuable. And today's presentation I'm going to be talking about is 10 reasons to automate. And like Pete had mentioned, I actually started installing systems. My dad and my uncle had a installation company. So when I was 15 years old, I was out picking up trash on the job sites, driving forklifts, and got into installing, and then got into being a foreman of crews of like 50 people or so. And then when about 12 years into installing, somebody kept saying, you ought to try getting into the design work, because you had a lot of value out on the floor installing systems. And then he even said you got to get into sales. And my biggest problem was I hated salespeople, because the vision that I had of salespeople were a used car type salesman. So when I got into and take that leap of faith into design and coming up with solutions, I got into more of the from my application and experience from being out on the field. Fell in love with this industry. I've been in it for about 25, 30 years now, and I just love coming up and solving problems and helping companies become more efficient. I want to ask just a few questions. Out of the people that are in the crowd here, how many facilities do you have are fully automated, just by a show of hands? Okay. How many are possibly semi-automated facilities? Okay, a lot more hands. And then how many have absolutely no automation at all? Okay. And then another question is we have manufacturing companies that are here, as well as distribution companies. Can I see a show of hands of people that are manufacturing? Okay. And then that are in distribution? Okay, about 50-50. No, that's great. In looking at automation, what are some of the reasons that you would come up with to actually come to have the automation? If I can somebody just kind of throw out a reason or two. Speed to market. Speed to market. Ergonomics. That's a great one as well. Cost? Cost savings, definitely. And actually last year, the Material Handling Institute put out a survey of 400 users, and this is actually the top 10 reasons that companies would want to automate. The first being cost justification, second, labor savings, the third is return on investment, fourth being time savings, fifth is productivity, sixth, ergonomics, accuracy and speed, eighth being throughput, The 9th is customer business demands, and then 10th is efficiencies. A lot of what I just said was definitely on this list, and one of the this is kind of one of the experiences that I have seen of why companies need to want to go into automation, and the first would be a return on investment. If you're going to invest some capital into a solution, you want to have a return on investment. Another one would be stacks of money. Any financial people here today, this is one of the things that constantly comes up, and return on investment, turn to the max. The hockey stick with the arrow going off the end. I don't know if jars have changed, but at least they're growing, each one. This is the typical financial CFO asking for show me the ROI. But what we have found is that if there is not a return on investment, that the majority of the projects that we get started on never happen at all. If we're not able to, or the company's not able to actually show that return on investment, the project dies before it gets into purchasing. And in order to get to a point wherever you can actually spend some money into it, you got to be able to show how you get that return on investment. So how do you get that maximum ROI? There's two different ways that we've been able to find. The first is to generate more revenue, to install a system that increases the revenue of your facility. And we're going to talk about that. The second is probably the most used way of showing a return on investment, and that is to install a system that reduces cost, right? That reduces your cost, so it actually increases your gross profit within your facility. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to first start out with that. So one of the ways to reduce the cost is to increase your production or your pick rate. If you're able to get more production, if you're a manufacturing company, through your system in the same amount of time, that's one way to be able to reduce your cost, and with the same amount of people. Or increase your pick rate. That would drop your cost. It equals delivering more products and more orders and increasing your revenue. The second is to increase your SKU quantity. Especially today in e-commerce world, if you are, you want to be able to offer as many products as possible on your website. Oh, and also before, I see there's a lot of people taking notes. These all 4 workshops are going to be the audio and video is going to be online, and there'll also be a download of the PowerPoint presentation as well. So you'll be able to download that afterwards. We'll send that link out. But so we talked about increased SKU quantity, as well as in manufacturing. If you build that relationship with that customer and you get the ability to be able to offer your product in their retail store, you want to be able to offer more products through it, since you've spent so much time in building that relationship. So offering more SKU quantity is huge. Another is to extend the daily order cutoff time, squeezing those bonus orders. If the way the standards are created today is to be able to get your product to market as fast as possible. So to be able to extend that cutoff time and be able to get, I ordered something the other day, and it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I received it the next day. And that's getting to be the standard that's happening. Increased throughput. If you can increase throughput through your manufacturing or through your distribution channels, you can increase your total business volume, which increases your revenue. And the bonus to all of these is increase customer satisfaction. So what are some of the ways that we can increase revenue through these 4 that we went through? Increasing production, your pick rate. You can do inline automation. Eliminate those bottlenecks within your process, Whether it increase your picking process through pick-to-light or goods-to-picker. Another one on increase in SKU quantity is more with less square footage. So if you're able to produce more in less square footage with your manufacturing, or produce more in less square footage for distribution, utilizing ASRS or carousels, extending your daily cutoff time through sortation, and then increasing throughput utilizing WMS, warehouse control systems, conveyors, smart integration of different solutions. And another project goals for reducing cost is for increase in production and pick productivity, less manpower is a huge cost savings. If we can do the same or more with less people is the first way of being able to reduce your costs. Reduce labor content. Fewer full-time employees is a huge cost saver. Green solutions. There's so many new technologies today that are out there in order to save your costs through your green solutions, lower energy consumption. Reducing errors, fewer returns to be processed. The least amount of product that comes back into your facility. There are studies that the cost to actually bring product back in is a 5-time multiple compared to what it takes in order actually to send it out and to your customer. And the reduced damage, fewer repairs would be cost reduction. So what are some ways that we could do those 5 there? Increase production, pick productivity. I'm sorry, I just, the 6th one here, improve safety and ergonomics. This is huge. To reduce the lost time and claims on cost reduction. We were just talking to a friend of ours that works for a company that does underwriting and claims for workman's compensation. And one of the things that he said is that the average cost for a back injury today, total wrapped up cost is $300,000. And that includes, that's everything. That's doctors, that's time off, that's all the resources that take to that. So what are some of the ways that we can get those savings? To increase production, we can look at our pick productivity, case packing robots, goods to picker, actually bringing the product to the picker. The second is reduce labor content. Could be AGVs, A-frame dispensers, green solutions. It's really integrated and balanced size correctly. If you have a facility that's it's not utilized correctly, if you're not utilizing your cube space, if you're in more square footage than what your business actually needs, you're paying for that square footage. If you're having to heat up the building, you're paying for that, as well as energy efficient lighting and sensors that actually will turn off and turn on only whenever a person is in that aisle. Another way in order to save. And then reducing damage. It could be automated trailer loading is a big one, because you spend all that time getting all your product through manufacturing or your product through distribution channels, and as it gets through out to your dock doors and with the forklifts picking things up, a lot of damage is actually done for that. So you have all your costs already put into that product, and then you got to turn around and regenerate that whole cost again. And then the 6th, improve safety and ergonomics, palletizing robots. And again, goods to picker, actually bringing the product to ergonomic workstations so that, if they're doing repetitive movement, that they're not getting the carpal tunnel or back strain or leg strain. So revenue, let's go to the revenue side now. We're looking at what are some of the ways in order to actually increase revenue? We talked about extending order cutoff time, improved accuracy, making sure that what you're picking is actually the correct pick. Increasing your capacity, making sure that the product that the building size or the operation that you're working with is is laid out correctly and integrated correctly to what your business growth plans are. And then safety and ergonomics is another a huge one that to be able to look at for increase in revenue. So extending order cutoff time. The different ways to be able to extend your order cutoff time is a reduction of non-picking work time. Eliminating the non-value-added processes that are, whether it be walking or touching, eliminating the number of fingerprints that are put onto your product going through your process. More orders completed before trucks leave. That's the big one, is being able to get that product out your door so that it can get to your end user in a timely manner. And one of the things that we have here is this is basically a warehouse labor cost broke down in chunks in percentages, and it talks about what it shows here is receiving represents about 3% of your total cost, and put away is 8%. Stocking is 16%. Picking is the big one at 41%. Replenishing takes about 12% of your warehouse cost. Loading 4%, and indirect labor costs, would it be front-end office work or that, another 11%. So then if we break that down even further here, and we look at order picking time, so we take that 41% and we break that down even further. 50% of your time is taken through traveling. It's actually going from one pick to another pick. And then once you get actually to that location, actually going through and searching for that location is another 20%. And then you got to say, all right, now I got to pick 5 or I got to pick 6, and that represents another 15%. And then setup and packing another 10 to 5% for miscellaneous. So our job is to identify where are the areas that we can eliminate the most waste. Where are the areas that we can eliminate the traveling, the searching, the extracting. And what I'm going to do is, this is a client of ours that was actually here today, and where they actually, when we first met with them, it's an e-commerce company, and they were discrete picking in zones. So they would gather up all of their orders, pull them together, separate them by zone, and then hand them out. And this shows in the area here, you got about 8 or 9 people that are standing in front of each one of their zone areas, and they're picking their product, and they're either putting it onto the takeaway conveyor or they are handing it off to another zone. So the issues that we came across here were order processing speed and accuracy, because they had to have 2 other people that would go through and check each one of the orders as it came down the conveyor, because it was such a manual process. The other is no real-time system monitoring. The warehouse management system that they had was a little inadequate for the growth pattern that they were going through. And then capacity, no capacity for growth. On Mondays being the busy day in the e-commerce world, so it's 100% growth more than Tuesday through Friday. They'd have to come in on Sunday actually and start doing a little bit of work, and then actually work overtime on every Monday. So what are some of the solutions that we looked at here? We designed their system based on actual velocity activity. We took a year's worth of their data of each one of their SKUs and designed based upon that. We were able to see that 11% of their SKUs represented 90% of their activity. So we took their top SKUs and actually put it in an A-frame dispenser, and it would induct a tote and actually dispense the product into the tote. And then the larger SKUs of those 11%, we put in a pick-to-light and carton flow. So and then as well, what we did is we did what's called zone picking, where we have 4 different zones, and we induct a shipping carton into the system. Actually, we have 5 different zones, but we induct the shipping carton into the system, and it only goes to the zone that the items need to be picked from. So we're eliminating the walking, we're eliminating a majority of the walking, and when it actually gets into the correct zones, they're actually being guided to the locations. And the result from that is a more volume, increased efficiencies, and less staff, real-time order tracking, and elimination of overtime, as well as the ability it was designed for a 5-year growth plan for them, so it gives them the ability to actually grow into their system. The next area is improved accuracy. This is really a big change that's happening. We saw a study the other day that it was 29% of consumers, if they received a product that was incorrect, 29% of would no longer use that company again. And on that same study, it showed that 69% of the people, if it didn't show up on time, if it was up to 2 days late, they would no longer use that customer again as well. So improved accuracy is huge. And different ways to be able to reach that is goods to person picking, paperless picking, either by voice or versus lights, better customer service, e-commerce, critical, fewer cost customers, and again, more revenue. This is a shoe and apparel company that the first issues that we had, it was a manual operation. They were doing persons to goods, so they were taking the shipping cartons and they were pushing carts down in a 500,000 square foot facility that had 6 different rooms in it. And each room had an order consolidation drop-off station, so they were just constantly walking and dropping off. They had 4 to 5 day turnaround on their orders once they got dropped. What we did for them was we came up with a solution for them that had auto order induct via our warehouse control system. We would actually release orders by the volume of by the velocity of orders that were in through the pick zones. So we were actually smart dropping those orders into the system. They had a 36 zone pick module that we were dropping those orders in. So we would convey the shipping carton, print and apply an LPM barcode on the front, and deliver it to the correct zone. We had dynamic and active pick locations. So we knew what the orders were going to be picked the day before. So we took all those orders, and if it was 3 full cases and 3 eaches, we'd send those 3 cases to to a dynamic pick location with the minimal amount of walking, and then they would pick the other 3 through the active locations. And then we utilized print and apply and auto manifesting for the system. And the results that came from that is same day and next day service. So they were able to, any orders that came in, e-commerce, they'd actually be able to get those off. Wholesale, retail, they were able to get those out the next day. 1/3 more SKU and double the throughput. So we designed the system to be able to hold a third more SKUs for their growth, as well as be able to double the throughput capacity. The system was installed in 1998, and with that growth plan for 5 years to be able to double. Right after, everybody knows the big bomb that happened in 98 when the stock market crashed, their business went down. One of the things that they were able to do was take a facility that they had on the East Coast in New Jersey and close that down and bring it and put it into this system and to be able to keep that return on investment plan that they had. And then inventory accuracy was a huge gain that they were able to have, and that was a big problem that they had before. So now we go to safety and ergonomics. Goods to person picking solutions. Being able to actually bring the product, eliminating the walking, eliminating the travel, going back and forth. Ergonomic palletizing stations. If you're manually palletizing, actually coming up with workstations that actually bring the product up on a higher level, maybe a vacuum lift that actually puts it onto it, or some type of ergonomic system. Robotic pick and place, robotic pick and pack, robotic palletizing systems. This is actually a concrete manufacturer in Idaho. And two guys actually palletized 94-pound bags of concrete, 2 shifts, 7 days a week. And it's dusty. They got to wear masks. They have to wear, one guy's wearing sunglasses because the lime gets inside your eyes. The winter time, it's freezing cold. In the summer times, it's blazing hot. It's a tin building. So they had they had a high labor turnover, workman's comp claims, just a cold, damp, and dusty work condition. So this is the solution that we put into it. A powered bag flattener in order to flatten the bags, palletizing robot, automatic stretch wrapper. This actually gave them a 25% increase in production. The customer calculated 11-month return on investment with the operation. It goes directly from here to an automatic stretch wrapper. The robot reaches over, picks up the next pallet, brings it over, sets it in place, and then continues palletizing. The elimination of injury risk goes down, and then improved customer image. One of the things that the customer said to our sales executive was, I'm the only manufacturer of concrete that he knows of that does not robot palletize. One of the things that you'll hear in the third workshop today is the shrinking workforce and the aging workforce, where there is not going to be as many people to actually do this type of labor work as it goes down the line. The next area is increasing capacity. This is a big change that's taking place, is really being able to utilize more SKUs. So you can get out to more stores where, the bigger box stores, and we're now getting down into smaller ones. The more .com orders, so a lot more single item picking, more frequently as shipments. Same and often multi-channel facilities, fewer cost of stocks, less cost sales, more revenue. There's just so many more products going through the market today, with the Walmarts and the Targets and that. So you have, and it's such a huge turnaround on SKUs as well, needing to have something new and bigger and better. This is actually a 3PL for a retail deconsolidation. And this is some before pictures. And it's pretty typical actually in deconsolidation, where we're unloading containers coming from overseas, deconsolidating it, meaning we're taking the ESNs that are in each one of those trailers, and we're breaking it down by store or by RDC, and then taking it, putting it onto a cart, walking down a 100, 200,000 square foot facility, taking it manually, putting it back into that container. Some of the issues that we had when we first walked in there, it's a 100% manual operation. I mean, all the way down to one trailer that has a stack this much of the order sheets to go through and pull those orders. Long walking distance, paper manifests and load slips, heavy turnaround, difficult training, right? Because this operation is primarily 90% temporary labor. So the training turnaround, especially in hot summer days, to be able to get that training going around. A lot of errors take place in this process. They were spending $14 million in temporary labor annually. So the solution that we looked into is it's a fully automated system where we were able to unload 20 containers and load 52 trailers on the outbound. We enabled automatic extendable truck unloaders. We had 2 high-speed camera scan tunnels. High-speed sortation. It was a redundant system that we had 2 actual sorters. So if one of the sorters went down, we still were able to at least get 50% of the throughput. Extendable outbound trailers and warehouse control system that gave them a total paperless operation, where we had to tell them exactly what SKU, what carton, and the size of that carton went into each one of the trailer. We had to cube out that trailer, so after 90%, 95% of a load fill, we'd flash lights in order to so they can stage the next trailer that they're going to be loading. But it was a total paperless process. And the result that we had is we were able to sort 330 cartons per minute. There was a 40% reduction in labor, reduction in unload time of 66%, and which is just huge. And you'll hear a little bit about that. And then the big one is a 99.9% LOS grading, which is level of service that this customer depended upon. And the level of service is a very unfair way that they actually grade it, because if you have 5 SKUs that are in that trailer and 1 SKU got in there that wasn't supposed to, that gave you a 80% level of service. Even if you got every one of the other SKUs, but that one got in there, it just throws everything all out. What I have next is we just finished, Hytrol just finished a video of this process, and I just got it yesterday, production, and I'd like to share it with you guys if we get a chance here.
Since its first delivery in 1944, California Cartage Company has become an industry leader in trucking, warehousing, and deconsolidation, owning and operating highly specialized logistics divisions nationwide. As a third-party logistics company, or 3PL, Cal Cartage provides customers a multitude of services. Their facility in Suffolk, Virginia, houses a cross-docking operation servicing a well-known major retailer.
We make it easier for large companies to break down their freight and ship out to their distribution centers. The actual supply chain, we condense it, we make that process very easy for potential customers.
Hytrol and McCombs-Wall work diligently with Cal Cartage to implement an automated material handling system capable of processing the customer's large volume of product. The conveyor system gives Cal Cartage the capacity to deconsolidate up to 20 containers at the same time, with 4 additional doors for future growth.
We were able to achieve some really unexpected goals, and we were able to make our customer happy and meet their demands.
Some of the containers that would normally take 8 to 9 hours, currently we can do it within 3 hours.
One of the challenging design requirements was the entire operation had to be accomplished using only one side of the building. Cal Cartage benefits by having the capacity to use the other side of the facility for potential new customers. When designing the system to fit this unique footprint, Hytrol and McCombs-Wall leveraged solutions that would deliver the amount of throughput needed to make the operation profitable.
We found a way to keep the volume consistent and continuous through only 20 inbound doors. The same amount of volume, if I had a traditional cross-dock, I would need 35 inbound doors.
The system uses a specialized method of induction to feed 2 of the most advanced sliding shoe sorters in the industry. Each ProSort 400 is over 700 feet long. That's more than 2 football fields.
What Hytrol's Gap in Store option gives us is the ability to pack a large amount of freight in our merge area and still maintain control with it so that we can get at a high rate of speed through the sorters.
The ability to control the product while maintaining high levels of throughput is critical to the success of a 3PL. Hytrol's advanced sortation system works with the custom control solution to determine the destination for each product, which affords Cal Cartage the ability to maximize trailer fill.
We were able to increase our average trailer fill from 85 CBMs to 89 CBMs, and the goal is 88, so we were able to exceed the goal.
The goal for Hytrol and McCombs-Wall is to design, manufacture, and implement systems that produce results for the customer.
The system was easy to learn, it's user-friendly, and with Hytrol's training program that they offer, it's really been beneficial to us. I would consider Hytrol part of our family. It's not just Cal Cartage, it's one team, really working towards a common goal.
That's it. That was a system that we installed in Suffolk, Virginia, and we support that system here today. We got 2 shifts that they run. During peak time, they're running 7 days a week in order to keep that up and running. But so, kind of in closing, the The main thing is to be able to find out where are the areas that we can reduce costs, where are the areas that we can raise revenue. Is it eliminating non-value-added touches? Is it eliminating non-value-added walking? Every facility, every operation is totally different. And the main thing is to be able to come in, learn your business, be able to identify areas of improvement, and try to figure out where are some cost-justifiable solutions that give return on investment. So that's it for my talk, and I'm opening it up for any questions that possibly anybody might have. That's a great question. And again, it's all a matter of the actual application. The system that we just showed the video for was a 6-month process from the time that we actually received the order until going live with the system. It all determines whether it's a greenfield application or if it's an existing operation that we're doing some changes, where we have to do it in a phased type approach so that you can be at business as usual. But so it's kind of broken out into whatever that application is. But we're pretty good at actually figuring out a budget time frame that usually would take. Any other questions?
So on that project, they still unloaded the boxes manually and put them in a conveyor belt and the same thing when they were loading the trucks?
Yeah. Okay. The question was in the video, do they still unload the containers, put it on the conveyor, and then it went directly out the door? Correct. Only 2 people touched each one of the cartons. The person that actually took it off the container, put it onto the conveyor, and then the person that took it off the conveyor and then loaded it into the trailer that went to the regional distribution center. Is that right? Yes, sir. The question was, it looked like they were loading everything floor stack, and that's correct. There was no pallet build. Everything was floor stack in order to get the most amount of cube space, just with cost of today. And that was one of the things that they actually really improved it and able to get the best number of CBMs, which is basically cubic feet per, I forgot the actual name, but to get the most amount of freight inside of a trailer. Because they get judged, their LOS is judged upon that. Their level of service is judged upon that as well. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great question. And let me repeat it just to make sure I got it right. If you don't have a 7-day-a-week process or a 7-day-a-week facility, how do you cost justify it? Is that? It's strictly based upon the number of hours being worked. If you're working 4 10-hour days, or if you're working 5 8-hour days, we take the total number of man hours, working hours, and be able to cost justify how that worked out. Does that answer it, or? Yeah? Okay. And that's really the key, is to really get down into that deep, because any solution looks good on video or on paper or anything like that. And sometimes you can look at a solution and see that, yeah, that will actually work for my application. But if it doesn't have the right return on investment, if you're not able to get that justification, usually it either dies by the time it gets up to time to write the check, or once you get it installed, it's just a wrong application solution. And that's really how a lot of automation solutions get a bad name, is whenever something is installed incorrectly. Okay, the question was, how do you deal with multiples of warehouse management systems? And that's a great question. And I'll tell you what, 10 years ago, it was a lot difficult, because there were just so many different ways that information was being transferred back and forth. And now there's a lot more consistency, and we have not came across a warehouse management system that we were not able to communicate with. We have some that they're not able to do the things that we need them to do, so we have to get in and do some work with our warehouse control system. But for the most part, interfacing with the warehouse management system all the way even to an ERP system that has a warehouse module adapted onto it, so it's kind of a smaller piece to it, we can still interface with it. That answer? Yes, sir.
I wasn't really clear, but in that facility, did that the automation also give them more capacity? Because they talked about they didn't need to cross-dock any further, and then they could keep half the warehouse for growth. And previously, they used the whole warehouse.
Yeah, that was actually a greenfield building, so it was a brand new building, but their capacity savings, they were still able to get out the same amount that they were expected to. But what they were able to do is to get out more faster. And that's really the key, is being able to get that product to that regional distribution center in a shorter time frame, because the level of service actually starts once it leaves the manufacturer. So if it gets late going through each one of the channels and then it lands on their floor, the level of service is dropped in their lab. So they need to get it out faster. Yeah, so capacity-wise, they were still able to get the same amount that was expected, but quicker was the main thing. Yeah, before, when it was a manual operation, like he said, there would be a container that would have 9,000 items in it. It's just small items, and it would take them 9 hours to get it through. Where with this system here, they'd be able to take 3 hours to get that same throughput. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How much of this automation is based on computer?
The question is, how much of this automation is based on computer? And that's a great question, because there's so many different pieces of an automated system. Right? You could have 20 different automated solutions, and if they stand by themselves, they have their own technology and their own software that runs it. But what you truly need is an integrator that has a warehouse control system that can put all of them together and actually make them all work efficiently together. All the way, exactly. No, great question. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
The video works great on pallet in, pallet out, which is a cross-dock. What if you have racking already and you have locations where people physically go scan a product, box, whatever, in and out? How much integration, how much robotics can be applied to an operation?
Yeah.
That matter?
No, it's a great question. He said, when you're going cross-dock and you're just putting it on a conveyor and taking it off the conveyor, sure, you can use as much automation as possible. But whenever you have a lot of value add, like I imagine, where you're needing to bring it in and QC it and label it and tag it and put it into a location, and you're each picking or that, it's really a matter of being able to identify within that whole process, what is the best solution for each one of those? Because you could be doing a manual operation and really just changing the flow of your process around could get large improvements, and with no expenditure at all. And we call that the low-hanging fruit, dealing with that. So it's really taking a look at each one of your processes and being able to identify where you can get the best return on whatever investment. No, great question. Any other questions? All right, thank you everybody for coming and participating. The next workshop is going to take place at 10 o'clock, so in about 15 minutes. So grab some more coffee, a beverage, and come on up, and that's going to be robots equal more jobs, how automation is bringing business back. All right.